Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the formulation of the research problem statement. In the last video we have discussed about how to search about the research problem. So now we are going to learn about how we have to formulate the research problem statement. So what are the content that we have to include when we are going to write about the research problem statement. So first you should know that what are the two types of format that we can write the research problem. So in this we have two formats that we can write. First one is integrative interrogative format, and second one we call as a declarative format. So integrative means it should be in your questions, in your questionnaires forms. So this is the one example that we have. So in this, you can see, you can write in the form if you want to do a research on the ginger and the or use of ginger on morning sickness. You can formulate like what is the of effect of gingers on morning sickness symptoms on pregnant women in selected communities of Noida or any other part. So you have to put this questions mark. Next, regarding the declarative format. So in this, you are going to write in a declarative way. So in this, you have to write in such a way that it should show proper what is the study types and what is the topics and populations, the setting, everything you're going to include. So how the declarative forms you're going to write, this is a one example. So in that, a descriptive study on prevalence of bed sores among unconscious patients admitted in intensive care unit of Delhi University or any hospitals. Okay, so by of any part. So by doing this, you can use these two formats. First one is interrogative format and declarative or declarative format. Now, what are the components when you write a particular statement? So there are some components that is compulsory you have to include. And one more thing, so you can see in this we have two formats. Already we have discussed there is having two formats for writing the research problem statement. So normally for the nursing we use this declarative format more. Okay, so in that we have to, when you write the particular statement, you should know what are the variables that you're going to use. And next one is populations or the sample. This third one is called research setting, and the another one that is types of study. So now this all the components, what is variable, what is population sample, research setting, and the types of study, that we are going to discuss one by one. So already we have discussed about the uh, finding of the problem statement. So in this you can see what there are some steps that we have to follow for formulating the research statement. So first one is you are going to select the research topic. So how to select, from where you're going to select the sources of the research topic, that we have already discussed. And next one is, next you have to see about any literature or any research has been conducted on the particular topic before, that you're going to search. For searching purpose you can use internet, otherwise you can use books, otherwise you can also use any kind of the national or international journals. And then third one is you are going to delimiting the research topic. So what is delimiting, that also we have discussed in the previous video. And the evaluation of the research problem, that also we have discussed in the previous video. So at last, after proper evaluating, then you're going to finalize the particular problem statement. So now we are going to learn about, I have already told you there are some components that you have to include in the research problem statement. The first one, the most important is that the types of studies. So when you start writing the research problem statement, you should know what kind of types of study you want to use, whether you want to use the quantitative study or qualitative study. So quantitative study means whatever the solutions that we are going to find out, we are going to show in the form of the data or in the number form. So qualitative means whatever the solutions of the problems will be come out in the form of the words that we cannot able to measure it. Okay, so there are two types of the quantitative. We have experimental and non-experimental. So under the non-experimental, we have quasi-experimental, true experimental. Under the non-experimental, we have descriptive, exploratory, correlational, comparative. And next one for the qualitative, we have phenomenological, ethnographical, ground theory, case study, historical study, action, research. So these are the types that we have for the research. So you have to mention if you are doing any descriptive study, please mention that our descriptive study is going to be conducted or quasi-experimental. So these are the some about the types of the research study. In details, we will be learning about these types in another video. So for today, just remember the types. You just have to know what are the types we have. According to that, you have to include in your research problem statement. And next one is populations. So population means they are the set of the people that you are going to conduct the research study. So for example, you want to do a research on the effect of ginger, use of ginger among the morning sickness. So morning, this study will be conducted among the antenatal mother. So now antenatal mother or the pregnant mother, it is your population. Okay. So next one is research setting. Research setting means nothing. So it means very simple. It is setting means what? It is the location. It is a location where the research or your research one you want to take. Okay, you want to take place. So for example, you want to conduct your research in New Delhi, it may be in the Bangalore. So based on that, that location we consider as a we call it in research term we call it as a research setting. And next one is the variable. So variable is very important. So variable means we consider it as the particular quality or the property or characteristic of a person. Okay, characteristic of the persons or things or the situation that is going to be changed or varied. Okay, so that we call as a variable. So variable means in simple terms they are the characteristic or property of the particular research study. So we can measure the variables in the form of the qualitative. It means we can find out the variables. We can measure the variables in the form of the words as well as in the form of the numbers. Qualitative means in the form of the form of the words that I cannot able to measure it. Quantitative means in the form of the data or in the form of the numbers that I can measure it well. Now, again, there are various types of the variable. So, based on that, which one is more suitable that we are going to use in the particular study. So, what are the types of the variables that we have? First one is independent and the dependent variable. Okay. Second one, research variable. Third one is demographic variable. Fourth one is extraneous variable. Okay, so these are the types. So one by one we are going to discuss. So now independent and dependent variable that we are going to discuss. These are the two variables that is showing that there is some relationship between two variables. Okay, so usually this kind of dependent or independent variables we can see in studies types of study like correlational, interventions, pre-experimental, quasi-experimental, or the experimental research study. So most all of the experimental types of study we can able to find out the independent and the dependent variable. It is compulsory to include the independent and dependent variables. Now we are going to discuss about what are the main difference between independent variable and a dependent variable. So by the name you might be understanding independent. Independent means they are going to depend on they are not going to depend to anyone. So in the research, independent means it is the we consider it as a stimulus or the activities that is going to be manipulated. Okay, so these are the variables where the researcher is going to manipulate. Okay, manipulate and to get the effect. So after manipulating the independent variable, whatever changes it occur, that will be changes will be on the dependent variable. Okay, next one is dependent variable. The dependent variables means what? It is going to be depend on the dependent variable. So already we have discussed that dependent variables means they are the variables that is the outcome or response due to manipulating the independent variables. Okay, so this variables we consider it as a predictions that the research want to show. You can see, for example, you want to do a research study on whether the smoking caused cancer or not. So in this, which one is dependent or which one is independent? You can see uh, smoking we consider it as the independent because and the cancer we can consider it as a dependent. So increase amount of the smoking or decrease amount of the smoking can lead to cancer or it may prevent cancer. Okay, so always to cause the cancer we need smoking, so that's why we consider smoking as a independent and a cancer is dependent. Again I'm telling cancer is called as a dependent variable because to cause the cancer we need to manipulate the person by increasing the smoking. Okay, always if not smoking, cancer might not be caused to the person. So that's why we consider smoking as a independent and the cancer as a dependent variable. So this is one example that from this to understand more, let's discuss by using the example. So this is a problem statement, a quasi-experimental study. So this is the types of the study that the person is going to use. So in this, they want to see study on the effect of 4-hourly use of chlorhexidine mouthwash on the prevention of the ventilated or ventilation associated pneumonia. So next one among the patient is the already we have discussed patient is the populations or sample. So patients who are admitted in the ICU of DMCH, Ludhiana, Punjab. So in this, which one is dependent or which one is independent? So in this, 4-hourly chlorhexidine mouthwash, it is the independent variable. Okay, and next one, which one is dependent? Dependent variable will be ventilated associated pneumonia. Okay, so this is in this study we can consider 4-hourly chlorhexidine mouthwash is the independent variable and the ventilator associated pneumonia is the independent variable. Okay, so this is one example. I hope you understood the main difference between independent and dependent variables. So again, I'm telling this variable we can see most commonly among the experimental research study. And next one more study we have that we call as a research variable. This kind of variable we can see only to the qualitative research study. Qualitative research study we can see in this there is no manipulations, there is no dependent, there is no independent. Okay, so only one variable will be there, and there is not showing any kind of relationship or any kind of intervention or treatment manipulation is not going to be present. That we consider as a research variable. So again, I'm telling, it can be seen among the qualitative research study, like for example descriptive, exploratory, comparative. Okay, so this type of study we can see the research variable. So for example, I want to do a research, or you want to do a research study on how much knowledge the people are having regarding the COVID-19 prevention. So in that, there will be no independent variable. So we are going to consider knowledge regarding COVID-19 prevention is the research variable. So this is one example of the a non-experimental study. So in that, an exploratory study on factor contributing sleep disturbance among patients admitted in selected ICUs of AIMS, New Delhi. So in that, we are going to consider factor contributing sleep disturbance. Starting from the factor to the disturbance, we consider as a research variable. Alright, so this is regarding the research variable. And next one more we have, that is called demographic variables. So demographic means what? Demographic means the personal information. So the sample personal information like age, gender, education status, religion, social class, marital status, habits, or their occupations, incomes, medical diagnosis, etc. All the personal information, personal data, we are going to consider as a demographic variable. And next one more variable we have, that is called extraneous variable. So extraneous variable usually we are not able to see in the problem statement. Okay, we are not going to be able to see it in the problem statement. Extraneous variables are the variables. They are not the part of the study, but they are indirectly going to help or manipulating the study variables. Okay, so for example, you want to check about the decrease of blood sugar by using insulin. All right, so in that, what are the extraneous variable we can see? So obviously if we give the insulin, the blood sugar will be decreased, but at the same time the persons may be having very low no sugar diet or having exercise. So I have not involved using of exercise, using of sugar free diet. So these things will be affecting my solution or my problem solutions. Okay, so this all we consider as a extraneous variable. So till here we have discussed the types of the variables. So I hope you understood. If you have any doubt, you can comment below. Thank you so much.